Welcome to the Transom Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transom.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
Hello! Another month has flown by and already it's November. When I was younger, November meant just one thing, and that was bonfire night. We look forward so much to the 5th of November and lighting up the sky with fireworks we'd bought from the corner shop. But you too can now enjoy this November excitement in the classroom by using the Firewords starter, complete with sound effects. It's very popular, it's attracted lots of comments, and the pupils seem to find it great fun finding the costs of the firewords, so give that a try. But the important thing is to let you know this month's puzzle. Something to think about while you're driving or jogging or swimming. And this puzzle, it captured my interest this month. It's a twist on the old classic. You may have heard the one about the explorer who is chased by a bear for 1 kilometre in a southerly direction. Then he turns and is chased 1 kilometre due east, and then finally 1 kilometre north. And at the end of all this, the explorer realises that he's exactly back where he started. And the question is, what colour was the bear? Well, the answer to this, plus the twist that has captured my interest, I'll reveal at the end of this podcast. Another thing I found interesting this last month was the first edition of the BBC's Newsnight programme with its new presenter, Evan Davis. He interviewed British Prime Minister David Cameron and asked him whether we should be teaching metric or imperial units of measures in school. Have a listen to what he had to say.
Children at school, should they primarily be taught when they're doing weights? Primarily be taught about kilograms or taught about pounds and ounces and stone?
I think I'd still go for pounds and ounces.
Would you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And then after that, a few weeks after that, I heard this very interesting item on the Danny Baker show. Danny Baker, very clever man. And have a listen to this.
Big issues, including measuring stuff. And here's Steve to tell us about that. Steve, what have you got?
Yeah, I'm actually measurement man.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Sounds like
all the old ancient measurements, such as a cubit, 18 inches, elbow to forearm, they all apply to me.
Do they? What about a chain? How's that going? Because you don't hear about chains so much anymore.
Now, that's 22 yards, which is the tenth of an eighth of a mile.
No,
so a tenth of a furlong.
What is your bona fides in all this? Because it's all very well coming on here spouting figures, but we know most people never get over Radio 4. They'd give you a pass. They don't care. They've got, here's an expert, they say, and they let you through. How comes you know this stuff? What's your expertise?
It goes back to when I was a milk tanker driver, and we used to fill the tankers right up in the back, but not right up full in the front. We used to have to leave them slightly less than full because they would be overweight if they were full right up. And
what do you mean overweight? Who's weighing you?
There was when you go and weigh a tanker in, you have to go on a weigh bridge, and at the time it was 32 tons, and then it went up to 38, and it's now about 44 tons.
I've never seen. Only in America have I seen a weigh bridge. I didn't know we had them here.
Oh God, yeah, we used to go on them several times a day. You know, so you drive your tanker on, you have to wait for it to stop slopping about for about 10 minutes for it to settle. and that's another story. Trying to drive it when you with a crash gearbox and the slop factor, and you got to time you're changing your gears as your milk's slopping backwards and forwards in the back.
I'm going to ask everybody not to ring in for the rest of the show, because as far as I'm concerned, we can talk about the milk tankers from here till 11 o'clock. So you there it is. You're driving around with you're driving around a milk tanker, which I hadn't heard of. When one of those goes down off the coast, seabirds for miles around have to be you have to throw in some sugar and some tea, and you've got yourself a good squeezable bird. So Steve, what were we talking about?
Well, we're on about measurement, man.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of using a tape measure, we had this giant stainless steel T-shaped steel ruler. It was about 4 feet long, and it was about 2 feet across at the top. And you would drop that into the tanker.
Wow.
So when the milk was coming up, because you'd load a big tanker from a small one, you get the little ones going around the farms, picking up the milk, loading them into big tankers that then went up to London, because we drove up to London every morning. And we only had one of these steel tape measures in the whole yard with 20 tankers. So we would use a tape measure in your pocket, but rather than that, a bit lazy, if you're climbing up and down on a tanker, I would use my arm. I'd stick my arm in.
Oh, this is how epidemics get started. You'd shove your arm into the tanker full of milk. And I'm 57. I've never used those words in that sequence before in my life.
And I used to throw mine out if a bird had pecked into the top, and little did I know someone's arm's been in it.
You walk, just 1 second, Steve. Steve. Park your tanker right there. I'm just talking to Lindsay. Lindsay, when you go into the kitchen, and I won't name any names in our family, kids, but then the milk's out on the side. And you think, well, who's not put the milk back? How long's that been out? Yeah. And you feel it, and even if it's just not quite freezing, well, that's gone, that's off.
Just a little bit
it's just gone.
Lukewarm.
This fella's driving around not only with a tanker full of it, he's burying his arm up to the armpit every 10 seconds. So, Steve...
My arm wasn't in the milk. My arm was in the empty tanker, and as it's filling up...
Change the
as
story.
it approaches your fingertips, your arm isn't touching the milk, because the milk's not reached your fingertips yet. You with me?
Oh, okay.
So
but so supposing the milk does reach your fingertips, supposing the milk does reach your fingertips, then where are we as a nation?
Well, you move your arm quick before it... So your arm never actually went in the milk.
You say your name's Steve, I say your name's Botulism Bill.
So why are you measurement man?
Anyway, I've got the 18-inch cubit, which is your elbow to your forearm. It goes back to, I don't know, Roman times. And then there's a fathom, 6 feet. That's
brilliant.
What my arm span is, fingertip to fingertip, 72 inches.
Is it?
And, yeah, exactly. And my hand across my knuckles is exactly 4 inches, the same as measuring a horse.
Yes, it is. I know this.
My thumb across the widest point is exactly 1 inch. So
hang on, whoa. Your thumb at the widest point is an inch.
Yeah, if I put my thumb down on a ruler, it's bang on an inch. And my hand span is 9 inches exactly, which is an old measurement called a span.
I think Da Vinci did it, but they used to use it at the opening of World in Action, the famous graphic of a man with his arms and legs wide and all of that. That's you then, isn't it?
That's me, yeah.
Well, it's like the male version of a perfect 10.
Bang! Yeah. Look at that. A perfect 10, Steve.
I'm 52 and I'm still the same weight I was at 18.
Listen, old friend, this is the BBC. You can't just come on here and ballyhoo your wares. You want to be some kind of superhero. But, Steve, we will keep your name on file, and should anything ever need verifying, you're the fella. You're the man. He's walking around like some kind of Swiss Army knife. Thank you very much indeed. Our friend Steve, he's just about to give us information on that. And our friend Steve in Wiltshire, that was something.
Yeah.
You can find Transum Mathematics at www.transum.org.
So, what do you teach? Do you teach a bit of both? Blended is best and all that? And if so, the imperial units, just how obscure do you get with the sort of the older units that are not in use anymore? Let me know. Okay, let's see. Last month on the Transum website, we had updates to the quadratic equations and simultaneous equations online exercises. The interactive word search was given a makeover, and a brand new activity called Polygon Angles was unveiled. The Trick or Treat True-False activity attracted hundreds of users for Halloween. And I changed the way that MSDD, that stands for multiply the sum by the difference and then divide by 5, checked the answers as they were typed in. We welcome new subscribers this month from the UK, from America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and from the United Arab Emirates. You're all very welcome. And as usual, we received a number of comments and observations this month. On the subject of the broken calculator starter, Mr. Simon Perry from Orley Farm, Harrow, says, my Year 4 math set managed to work this out in 34 steps. Needless to say, I was pretty impressed, as I gave them a target of 40. So well done to all you in year 4. That's really very young to be doing these. At Orley Farm. After doing the family buses starters, Bavin from Southampton says, excellent starters. Kids have really enjoyed most of the starters. Thank you. So, thank you, Bavin. After persevering with the 4-make 999 starter, Primary 7 from Meathill Primary School, Peterhead, say, we managed to get 6 different combinations. Our star pupils were Patrick and Jamie. We showed good perseverance throughout this challenge. So well done to Primary 7 and particularly Patrick and Jamie. On the subject of the hot estimates starter, 4W from Havergal College say, our grade 4 class came up with multiple strategies, one of which was very similar to the older students. We are super smart. Awesome. Well done, 4W. And also on hot estimates, that's the starter where you have to estimate the number of chilies in the photograph. A comment from an old colleague of mine, actually, Mr. Winter, who's now teaching down in KL, says that first they divided the photograph up into 64ths. Then they counted the number of chilies in one of the squares. After that, they used the grid method to work out the answer and found there were 768 chilies. It was great to see that we were only 5 away from the estimate of the school in Surrey. Thanks for the challenge. Well, thanks you for sharing how it went on and what your estimate was. On the subject of the MSDD starter that I mentioned before, Benjamin from Sydney says, okay, thanks. Anyway, I finished it and the prize was very funny. Well, you'll have to do that starter to see why the prize is very funny. So finally, the answer to the classic puzzle that I gave at the beginning of the podcast about the explorer being chased by the bear going south and then east and then north and then ending up back where they started, the answer is white. Because the only place that scenario described could have been carried out is at the North Pole. So the bear must have been a polar bear. But the twist is that it could also have taken place near the South Pole. If the explorer started off a certain distance away from the pole, let's say d kilometres, where d is a little more than 1, and ran towards the pole, that's south, for 1 kilometre. Then he ran east for 1 kilometre, but because he was so close to the pole, his journey was a circle around the pole with circumference of 1 kilometre. So finally running north for 1 kilometre would get him back to where he started. So your pupils might be able to calculate then the radius of that circle that has a circumference of 1 kilometre and then hence work out the value of d. But let's not stop there. What if d was such that after he had run 1 kilometre due south, the circumference of the easterly circular journey around the pole was only half a kilometre? So he has to run round twice the circle to make up his 1 kilometre of easterly travel. What would d be then? And of course that can be extended to running around the circle 3 times to make up 1 kilometre, 4 times, etc. And that would produce a sequence of values for d. Interesting stuff. That's all for this month. Have a good November. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transum podcast. You can find the website at www.transum.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free, or jump in with both feet and become a Transum subscriber.